So we're going to read Act 2 here. So it's on page 36, so scene 1. So this is, so Polonius is going to send his man to spy on Laertes. So again, he gave Laertes a whole bunch of advice in his speech, to thy own self be true, all that entire speech there. So he's going to send someone to spy on him, and Ophelia is going to tell her father about how Hamlet is acting strange. So we're going to enter with old Polonius and his man Rinaldo. Give him this money and these notes, Rinaldo. I will, my lord. You shall do marvelously wisely, good Rinaldo, before you visit him, to make inquire of his behavior. Look into his behavior. What's he doing while he's there? My lord, I did intend it. Well said, very well said. Look at you, sir. Inquire me first what danksters are in Paris, and who, and how, and who, with what means, and where they keep, what company, at what expense. Finding by this encompassment and drift of questions that they do know my son. Come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. Take it as you were some distant knowledge of him, and thus I know his father and his friends, and in part him. Do you mark this, Rinaldo? Aye, very well, my lord. And in part him, but you may say, not well, but if it be he, I mean, he's very wild, addicted, so and so, and there put on him what forgeries you please. Marry, none so rank as may dishonor him. Take heed of that. But sir, such wanton, wild, and unusual slips as our companions noted to most known to youth and liberty. As gaming, my lord, aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbling, you may go so far. So again, spy on my son, see what he's doing. I want to make sure there's like no false accusations against him. He's not acting disgraceful. He's not acting dishonorable. But you know, hey, he's young. Boys will be boys. As gaming, my lord, aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbling, you may go so far. My lord, that would dishonor him. There's false charges. Faith, no, as you may season it on the charge. You must not put another scandal on him, that he is open to incontinency. He's open to sexual excessiveness. That's not my meaning, but breathe his faults so quaintly that they may be seen in the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, O savageness in unreclaimed blood, of general assault. So again, catch him doing this stuff and expose him, expose my son on this stuff. But my good lord, wherefore should you do this? I, my lord, I would know that. Marry, sir, here's the draft. And I believe it is a fetch of warrant. You laying these slight sullies on my son, as 'twere a little soil doth the working, mark you. Your party in converse, him as you would sound, having ever seen the predominant crimes, the youth you breathe of guilty, be assured, he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, or so, friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase or the addition of man and country. Very good, my lord. And then, sir, what was I about to say? By the mass, I was about to say something. Where did I leave? At closes in the consequence. At closes in the consequences. Aye, married. He closes thus. I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday or the other day. Or then was such and such. And as you say, there was a gameman there took in his roost. There's a fallen at tennis, or perchance I saw him enter such a house of sale. Vitilict, a brothel, and so forth. He's frequent in prostitutes. See you now, your bait of falsehood takes this carp of truth, and thus we do of wisdom and of reach, with windlashes and with an assay of biases, by indirections, find directions out. So by my former lecture and advice, shall you, my son, you have me, have you not? My lord, I have. Good, by ye farewell. Good, my lord. Observe his inclinations in yourself. I shall, my lord, and let him ply his music. Well, my lord. Enter Ophelia. Ophelia enters and Rinaldo exits. Farewell. See now, Ophelia, what's the matter? Oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted. With what? In the name of God. My name, as I was sewn in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with all his doublet all unbracked, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered and down gravelled to his ankles, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking together, and with a look so piteous and purpose, as if he had been loosed out of hell. To speak of horrors, he comes before me. So Hamlet came to my room, and he looked like a complete mess. Mad for thy love? Is he like, how come he's acting crazy? Is he crazy in love? My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it. What said he? He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then he goes to the length of all his arm, and with the other hand, thus over his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face. As I would draw it, long stayed he so. At last, a little shaken of my arm, and thrice his head thus wavering up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound, as it did seem to shatter all of his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulders turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes. For out o' doors he went without their helps, and to the last bended their light on me. So he showed up at my door. He was acting crazy, and he just collapsed on me, completely collapsed on me. He let out this like earth like shattering sigh. So obviously he's a little distraught right now, right? Like he just literally saw his father's ghost, and he explained how he was murdered and he has to now get revenge. Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, the madness of love, whose violent property foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertaking. As oft any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures, I am sorry. What have you given him? Any hard words of late? Have you talked to him lately? Have you been flirting with him lately? No, my lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me. So she's listening, right? She's realized that, nope, I should not be flirting with this man right now. That hath made him mad. So maybe that's why he's going crazy right now, is because you rejected him. I'm so sorry that with better heed and judgment, I had not quoted him. I had not observed him. I feared he did but trifle and meant to whack thee, but beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions. It is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, we go to the king. This must be known, with which, being kept close, might move. More grief to hide than to utter love. So again, this might cause more trouble if we keep quiet and let it play out, versus if we just go to the king and we try and deal with it. So they are not wanting to sweep this under the rug. They want to confront this. So Act 2, Scene 2. So Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are set to spy on Hamlet for the king. And Polonius describes Hamlet's encounter with Ophelia, and then the players arrive in Elsinore, and Hamlet sees a way to trap the king. So Polonius sent a spy to spy on his son, and now Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are sent to spy on Hamlet by the king. So Scene 2. So enter the king and queen, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, with their attendants. Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover, that we did long to see you. That need we have to use you did provoke. Our hasty send-in, something you have heard of Hamlet's transformation, so I call it. Sith nor the exterior, nor the inward man resembles what it was. He's different on the inside and the outside. He's changed. What it should be, more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so much from the understanding of himself, I cannot dream of. So, I know his father just died, but even that's not enough to do this. There's something else going on. I cannot dream of. I entreat you both that, being of so young days, you brought up with him, being Hamlet's childhood friends, and sith so neighbors to his youth and behavior, that if you vouchsafe your rest here in our court, so little time by your companies to draw him on to pleasures and to gather, so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts us, him thus that opened lie within our remedy. You're his best friends. He's acting weird. Even his father's death doesn't explain this. Figure out what's going on. Let's see if we can fix it. The queen, good gentlemen, he hath much talked of you. He's talked about you guys a lot. And sure I am. Two men there is not living to whom he more adheres. There's no one else he trusts more than you two. If it will please you to show us so much gentry and goodwill as to expend your time with us a while for the supply and profit of our hope, your visitation shall receive thanks, such thanks as fit a king's remembrance. You will be very well rewarded for spying on Hamlet. Both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have over us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty. How come you're not just commanding us? How come like you're trying to reward us for this? You're trying to convince us of this. And here, but we both obey, and here we give ourselves in the full bent. We fully agree to lay our services freely at your feet, to be commanded. We're just on page 42. Thanks, Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern. Thanks, Guildenstern and gentle Rosencrantz. And I beseech you instantly to visit my too much changed son. Go, some of you, and bring these gentlemen where Hamlet is. Heavens make our presence and our practices pleasant and helpful to him. Amen. And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern exit, and now we are left with just the king and the queen. And now Polonius enters. The ambassadors from Norway, my good lord, are joyfully returned. Thou still hast been the father of good news. You always bring me good news, Polonius. Have I, my lord? Do I, my lord? I assure my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and my gracious king. But I do think, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure, as it hath us to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy. I have found why Hamlet has been acting so strange lately. Oh, speak of that. I do long to hear it. Give first admittance to the ambassadors. My news shall be the fruit to that great feast. Thyself do grace to them and bring them in. Then Polonius exits. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, he had found the head and source of all your son's distemper. I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death and our hasty marriage. So again, the queen seems to be fairly logical here. I'm pretty sure he's just upset because his father died and I married you instantly. We shall sift him. We'll interrogate him. So enter Polonius, Voltimand, and Cornelius. Voltimand and Cornelius are their friends from Norway. Welcome, my good friends. Say, Voltimand, what of our brothers, Norway? Most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon our first, he sent out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared to be a preparation against the Polish. So he raised an army against Poland. But better to look into, he truly found it was against your highness, whatever grieved, that so his sickness, age, and impotence was falsely borne in hand and sent out a test. So basically, there's a really old king in Norway. He didn't want to have a war with Denmark, and so he took an army to attack Poland. So he's kind of like defending the region. Was falsely born in hand and sent out arrests. On Fortinbras, which he in debrief obeys, receives rebuke from Norway, and in fine makes vow before his uncle, nevermore, to give a stay in arms against your majesty, wherein old Norway, overcome with joy, gives him 3,000 crowns in annual fees, and his commission to employ those soldiers so levy as before against the Polish, with an entreaty herein further shown. He's going to give a paper that might please you to give you pass through your dominions of this enterprise, or in such regard of safety and allowance as therein are set down. It likes us well, and at our more considered time we'll read, answer, and we'll think about this business meantime. And we'll think upon this business. Meantime, we thank you for your well-looked labor. Go to your rest. At night, we'll feast together. Most welcome home. And Voltimand and Cornelius exit. It's just the king, queen, and Polonius. The business is well ended, my liege and madame, to expostulate. What majesty should be, what duty is, what day is day, night, and time is time. We're nothing but to waste night, day, and time. And therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limb and outward flourish, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad, call I it, for to define true madness. But what is but to be nothing else but mad, but let that go. So again, he's saying that Hamlet is genuinely crazy right now. And the queen, more madder with less art. Stop embellishing, get to the point. Madame, I swear I use no art at all. I'm not exaggerating. That he is mad, it is true, 'tis true, 'tis pity. In pity, 'tis true. A foolish figure, and farewell it, for I will use no art. I will not embellish, will not exaggerate. This is how it is. Mad, let us grant him then, and now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect, for this defective comes by cause. And it remains in the remainder thus. Perpend, I have a daughter, while she is mine, who in her duty and obedience and mark hath given me this. Now gather and surmise. So there's a love letter that he's reading out now. So he reads this love letter. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase, but you shall hear these in his excellent white bosom, these. So, he's saying Hamlet's mad. I found out why. And then he starts reading this letter. Came this from Hamlet to her? Good madame, stay a while. I will be faithful. Doubt though the stars are fire. Doubt though the sun doth move. Doubt truth be a liar, but never doubt I love. So again, I love you. My love for you is so true. It's truer than the fact that that stars are fire. It's truer than the fact that the sun moves. It's true. And even if you doubt those things, never doubt that I love you. Oh, dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers. I have not art to reckon my groans. There's no words to describe it. But that I do love thee best, oh, most best, believe it, adieu. Thine evermore, most late, dear lady, whilst this machine is to him, Hamlet. This in obedience hath my daughter shown me, and more above hath his solicitance. And as they fell up by time, by means and place, all given to my ear. But how hath she received this letter? And actually, before I even go into that, those last few lines there, this is saying like, hey, my daughter just came to me naturally. There's no plot here. She just told me that this is what's happened. But how has she received this letter? What do you think of me as a man faithful and honorable? I would fain prove so. I wish I could prove so. I wish I could prove to you that I'm faithful and honorable. But what might you think when I have seen this hot love on the wings and perceived it? I must tell you, before my daughter told me, what might you, oh dear majesty, your queen here think, if I had played the desk or table book, or given my heart a winking mute and dumb, or looked upon this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star. This must not be. And then I prescripts gave her that she should lock herself from this resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens, which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repelled, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, and then into a fast, then to a watch, and thence into a weakness, thence to a lightness, and by this declination into the madness wherein he now raised, and we all mournful. So again, I'm so faithful and honorable that the second I heard that this was happening, I tried to stop it. I tried to stop it out of respect for you, the king, the queen, and Hamlet. And my daughter came to me, and I told her not to do this. But because Hamlet was so dejected, he was so rejected, this is what ultimately caused him to become crazy. Do you think 'tis this? It may be, very like. Hath there been such a time, I would fain know that I have positively said so. 'Tis so. When it proved otherwise, again, they think again, I'm being honest. Not that I know. I've never lied to you. Have I ever lied to you? No, you've never lied to us. Take this from this, if this be otherwise. And he points to his head and his shoulder. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the center. If you're lying to me, I'll find out. Sorry, if I'm lying to you, you'll find out. How may we try it further? You know, sometimes he walks 4 hours together here in the lobby. So he does indeed. At such a time, I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind and arras them. Mark the encounter. If he love her not, and be not from this reason fall therein, let me be no assistant for a stake, but keep a farm and carters. So again, you know what? I'll show you. I'll show you he loves her. I'll show you he's mad. We know where he walks. We're gonna hide behind a curtain, and I'm gonna let my daughter bump into him. We will try. And thus enters Hamlet, reading a book. But look where, sadly, the poor wretch comes reading. Anyways, I do beseech you both away. I'll board him presently. Oh, give me leave. And then the king and the queen leave, and it's just Polonius and Hamlet. Well, God of mercy, do you know me, my lord? Do you know me, my lord? Excellent. Well, you are a fishmonger. So, you know, that's an insult, right? It's meant to be an insult. You're a fishmonger, Polonius. He's insulting Polonius. Not I, my lord. Then I would, you were an honest man. Honest, my lord? Aye, sir. To be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man, out of 10,000. So, you know, to be honest means you are 1 in 10,000 people. Everyone is scum. That's very true, my lord. For if the sun breeds maggots in a dead dog, being a good kissing carrion, have you a daughter? I have, my lord. Let her not walk in the sun. Conception is a blessing, but as your daughter may conceive, friend, look to it. Polonius, aside. He's talking to himself now. How say you by that? Still harping on my daughter. Yet he knew me not at first, and said I was a fishmonger. Is far gone, and truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love. Very near this, I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord? Words, words, words. A very another famous quote here. What are you reading? Words, words, words. I'm reading stuff that doesn't matter. I'm reading empty promises. What's the matter, my lord? Between who? I mean the matter that you read, my lord. Slander, sir. For the satirical rogue says here that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes verge in thick amber and plum tree gum, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most we can. All which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. You for yourself, sir, shall grow old as I am, if, like a crab, you could go backwards. So again, he continues to insult him. Aside, so talk to himself. This will be madness, yet there's a method in it. Will you walk out of the air, my lord? So again, he's acting mad, but something's off. Into my grave? Indeed, that's out of the air. And aside, how pregnant sometimes his replies are. Again, pregnant in this context means meaningful. He's being very intentional in his weird replies. A happiness that often madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not preposterously be delivered of. I will leave him and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter. My lord, I will take leave of you. You cannot, sir, take from me anything which I will not more willingly part withal, except my life, except my life, except my life. I have nothing to lose. The only thing I have left is my life. Fare you well, my lord, these tedious old fools. So Rosencrantz and Guildenstern enter. You go seek the Lord Hamlet. There he is. God save you, sir. And Polonius exit. So now we have Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. As a reminder, these are his two childhood friends who have been tasked to spy on him by the king. My honored lord, my most dear lord. My excellent good friends, how dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, good lads, how do you both? As the different children of the earth, happy in that we are not over happy, O fortune's cap, we are not the very button. Nor the soles of her shoes? Neither, my lord. Then you live about her waist or in the middle of her favors. Faith, we privates we. In the secret parts of fortune, oh, most true, she is a stumpet. What news? None, my lord, but the world's grown honest. Then is doomsday near. The end of the world is near. Again, the world will end before someone's honest. But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to the prison hither? Prison, my lord? Denmark's a prison. Being here is a prison. Then is the world one? A godly one, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons. Denmark being the worst. We think not so, my lord. Why then 'tis none to you, for there is nothing, either a good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison. I feel like a prisoner in this country. Why then, your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind. Oh God, I could be bound in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams. Which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambition is merely the shadow of a dream. So again, if you're looking at the kind of like translation there right beside it, all that an ambitious man achieves is no more than a shadow of what he dreamed of. Again, you have all these dreams, but it's very hard to accomplish them. A dream itself is but a shadow. Truly, and I hold ambition of it airy and light to quality, that it is but a shadow's shadow. Then are our beggars' bodies and our monarchs and outstretched heroes the beggars' shadows. What shall we do to the court? For by my fay I cannot reason. Will wait upon you. No such matter. I will not sort you with the rest of my servants. For to speak to you like an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elisnor? That beaten way. So in the beaten way of friendship, for the sake of our friendship, I'm not going to like talk in riddles anymore. I'll just talk to you straight up. I'm going to stop pretending that I'm mad. To visit you, my lord, no other reason. Beggar that I am even poor in thanks, but I thank you. And sure, my dear friends, my thanks are too dear a halfpenny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, dearly justly with me. Come, nay, speak. Why are you actually here? Did you come here to see me, or were you summoned? Don't lie to me, I'm your friend. What should we say, my lord? Anything but to the purpose. You were sent for, and there is a kind of confession in your looks, with which your modesties have not had enough craft to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you. So Hamlet is already suspicious that they are spies on him. To what end, my lord? That you must teach me, but let me conjure you, by the rights of our fellowship, by the constancy of our youth, by the obliged of the ever-preserved love, and by what dear a better prosper can charge you withal. But be even and direct with me, whether you were sent for or not. Again, do not lie to me, just tell me. What say to you? Nay, then if I have an eye of you, if you love me, hold not off. If you love me, speak freely. If you love me, tell me the truth. My lord, we were sent for. We were sent here. I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen, mouth no feather. I have of late, but whether I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavenly with my disposition that this goodly frame of the earth seems to make me a sterile promontory. This excellent canopy in the air, look to you, this brave overchanging firmament, this majestical root fretted with golden fire. Why, it appeareth to nothing to me but a ghoul and pestilent congregation of vapors. The air here is poison. What piece of work is a man? How noble of reason, how infinite in facilities, in form and moving, how express, and admirable, in action how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights, not me, nor women either, though by your smiling you seem to say so. My lord, there was no such stuff in my thoughts. Why did you laugh then when I said man's delight, not me? To think, my lord, if you were to delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you. We courted them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service. He that plays the king shall be welcome. Those against the king are welcome here. Those who do not like the king conspire against the king are welcome here. His majesty shall have tribute on me. The adventurous knight shall use his foil and target. The lover shall not sigh gratis. The humorous man shall end his part in peace. The clown shall make those laugh whose lungs are trickled by the seer, and the lady shall say her mind freely, or the blank verse shall halt for't. What players are there? Even those you wont to take such delight in, the tragedians of the city. How chances if they travel? The residency, both in reputation and profit, was better both ways. I think their inhibition comes by the means of late innovation. Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city? Are they followed so? No, indeed, they are not. How come it? Do they grow rusty? Nay, their endeavor keeps in the wonted pace. But there is, sir, an eyrie of children, little Iases, that cry out on the top of the question, and are most tyrannically clapped for. These are now the fashion, or so berattle the common stages, so they call them. That many wearing rapers are afraid of goose quills and dare come to tither. What are they? Children? Who maintains them? How are they escotted? Will they pursue the quality no longer that they can sing? Will they not say afterwards, if they could grow themselves to common players, as it is the most like, if their means are no better, their writers do them wrong to make them exclaim against their own succession? Faith, there has been much to do on both sides, and the nation holds it to sin, to tar them controversy. There was a while no money bid for argument, unless the poet and the player went to cups in question. Is it possible? Oh, there's been much thrown around lately of brains. Do the boys carry it away? Aye, they do, my lord, Hercules and his load too. It is not very strange, for my uncle is the king of Denmark, and those that would make mouths at him while my father lived give 20, 40, 50, 100 ducats apiece for his picture in little. Splud, there is something in this which is more than natural, if philosophy could find it out. So those that laugh at my uncle would give anything for my father. So they'd give anything to have my father right now. There are the players. Gentlemen, you are welcome to Elisnor. Your hands come then. The appurtenance of welcome is fashion and ceremony. Let me comply you with this in garb, lest it may extend to the players, which I tell you, you must show fairly outward, and should appear like entertainment than yours. You are welcome, but my father, uncle, and aunt, mother are deceived. So what this is saying, all those 5 lines there. So Hamlet will shake hands, he'll disguise his real feelings with his former school friends. So he doesn't trust his friends, and he's not going to tell them about this plot. He's not going to tell them about the ghost. He's going to pretend. You are welcome, but my father and aunt mother are deceived. In what, my lord? I am but mad, northwest. I have not lost all of my senses. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw. And enter Polonius. Will be with you, gentlemen. Hark you, Guildenstern, and you too, at each ear a hearer. The great baby you see there is not out of the swaddling clouts, and happily he is the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child. I will prophecy here. He comes to tell me of the players. Mark it, you say right, sir, on Monday morning, 'twas then indeed. My lord, I have news to tell you. My lord, I have news to tell you. When Roscius was an actor in Rome, the actors are come hither, my lord. Buzz, buzz. Upon my honor, then came each actor on his ass. So one by one, everyone's come. All these actors, all these fake people are coming to me one by one. The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, comical, historical, pastoral, tragical, historical, tragical, comical, historical, pastoral, scene, individual, and poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor gratuitous too light. For the law of writ and liberty, these are the only men. O Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou. So this Jephthah person is someone who had sacrificed his daughter for political reasons. This is something that, so Hamlet's referring Ophelia in this line here. So on line 392, he's referring to the fact that Polonius' daughter, might be sacrificed for political reasons. What a treasure had he, my lord. Why, one fair daughter and no more, to which he loved passing well, still on my daughter. Oh, am I not the right old Jephthah? If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well. So he's denying this concept, right? No, I would never do that to my daughter. Nay, that follows not. What follows then, my lord? Why, as by lot God wot, and then it came to pass, as most it was. The first row of pious chanson will show you more, from look where my abridgment comes. And thus we have the players. And the players are people who are actually doing a play. So there's going to be a play in this play. It's like playception. We are almost done. Yeah, okay. We got a couple more pages. Then we'll break. We might extend past lunch a couple minutes. I apologize if that's the case. So enter the players. You're welcome, masters. Welcome all. I'm glad to see thee well. Welcome, good friends. Oh, old friend, why thy face invalent since I last saw thee? Comest thou to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and mistress? By'r lady, your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last by the altitude of a chopin. Pray God your voice, like a piece of uncurrent gold, be not cracked within the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. We e'en to ought seen the French falconers fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech. What speech, my lord? I hear thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once for the play. I remember, not the million, 'twas caviar to the general, but it was, I received it, and the others, whose judgment in such matters cried on the top of mine. An excellent play, well digested in the scene, set down as much modesty as cunning. I remember one said there were no solettes in the line to make the matter savory, nor no matter in the phrases that might indicate the author of affection, but call it an honest method, a wholesome as sweet, and by very much more a handsome than fine. One speech isn't I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas's tale to Dido, and thereafter of it, especially of his speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it lives in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see, let me see. So, I've heard you're really good actors. Let's see how good you are. And he gives them a specific thing to kind of recite. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Icarian beast, 'tis not so, begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, who he had sable arms, black as his purpose, did the knight resemble, when he lay crouched on an ominous horse. Hath now this dread and black complexion smeared, with harlotry no dismissal, head to foot, now is total ghouls, horribly tricked, blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, backed and pasted with the impartition straits, that led a tyrannous and damned light to their lord's murder, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus oversized with a coagulated gore, with eyes like carbuncles, like the hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam seeks, so proceed you. So he gives them a specific act in a play to now start to act out. For God, my lord, well spoken, with good accent and good discretion. And on he finds him, striking too short to Greeks, his antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command, unequal matched. Pyrrhus at the Priam drives, in rage strikes wide, but with the width and the wind of his sword fell. 'Tis unnerved fathers fall, and in senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flame and top, stoop to his base with a hideous crash, takes prisoner Pyrrhus's ear, for lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of the reverend Priam, seemed to stick in the air, so as a painted tyrant Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But often as we see against some storm, as a storm is brewing, silence in the heavens, the rack stands still, the bold wind speechless, and the orb below as hush as death, anon the dreadful thunder. Doth rend the region, so after Pyrrhus's pause, aroused vengeance sets him up anew a work. And never did the Cyclops' helmet fall on Mars's armor, forged for proof and tear, with less remorse than Pyrrhus's bleeding sword. Now fall on Priam. Out, out, that strumpet fortune,
All you gods and general synod, take her away. Break all the spokes and bellies from her wheel, and bowl around, nay, down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiends. This is too long. It shall be to the barber with your beard. Prithee say on, for he is a jig and a tail of body as he sleeps. Say on, and come to Hecuba. So these actors started reciting these scenes and acting it out. Polonius is kind of getting fed up, and then Hamlet says, "Sucks to be you, Polonius," and says, "Keep going." But who, ah woe, had seen the marble queen? The marble queen, that's good. Run barefoot up and down, threaten in the flames with vising Hiram. A clout upon that head, where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and the oa-treamed loins, blanket and the arm of fear caught up. Who had seen this tongue envenomed steed, gained fortune's state, would treason have pronounced. But if the god themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make the malicious sport and mince with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal move them not all, would have made them milch of burning eyes of heaven and the passion of gods. Look where he has not turned his color and his tears in his eye. Prithee, no more. 'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out of the rest of this soon. Good, my lord. Will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death, you would better have a bad epitaph than the ill reports where you live. So he's impressed by their acting ability and says, you guys can stick around and do a show. My lord, I will use them according to their desert. God's bodkin man, much more. Use every man in his desert, but who shall escape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in. Come, sirs. Follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. And to the first player, Hamlet says, does thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago? Aye, my lord. We'll have it tomorrow night. You could only need study a speech for some 12 or 16 lines. Then I would sit down and insert it. Could you not? Aye, my lord. And very well, he speaks to all the players. Follow that lord, and look, you mock him not. So Polonius and the players exit, and now we're just Hamlet, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern. My good friends, I'll leave you tonight. You're welcome in Elsinore. Good night. And now it's just Hamlet alone. And so God by you, now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave I am. It is not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul onto my own conceit. So again, he is praising how good these actors are. That from the work and all his visions had wan, tears in his eyes, distracted from his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suited with forms to the conceit, and all for nothing. For Hecuba, that he should weep for her. But what would he do had he the motive and cue for passion that I have? What would he do if he was as passionate as I am? That he would drown the stage with tears, that cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, compound the ignorant and amaze indeed, meet the very faculties of eyes and ears. And yet I, a dull and muddy metal rascal, peak like John a dreams, unpregnant of my cause, unstirred to action. I know that my father was killed, and I've still done nothing. Unpregnant to my cause, and can say nothing, no, not for a king, of whose property and dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? I've lost everything. I've done nothing. I'm a coward. Who calls me villain, breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face? He's getting insulted, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the throat as deep the lungs. Who does me this? Ha. So again, I've done nothing and everyone's insulting me. Swoons I should take it, but for it cannot be that I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter. Or ere this I should be fatted to the region kites with all the slaves awful, bloody body villain, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain. Why, what an ass I am. This is most brave, that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a whore, impact my heart with words, and fallen accursed the very drought, a scullion. He's mad that he has to plot, right? He's mad that he has to do this secretly. What he really wants to do is just like take a sword and just go stab the guy. But he understands his consequences to that. About my brains, I have heard the guilty creatures sitting at a play have, by the very cunning of the scene, been struck to the soul, that presently that they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with the miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before my uncle. I will have these actors, these world-class actors, reenact my father's death. I'll observe his looks. I'll observe the king's looks, and I'll tense him to the quick. If a dew blench, I know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be a devil, and the devil hath power. 'Tis assuming a pleasant shape, yes, and perhaps out of my weakness and melancholy, and he is very potent with such spirits. Abuse me to damn me. I'll have the ground, more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of your king. So what he's saying here is, I did see the ghost, I believe that, but I don't know if it's actually my father or if it's someone, if it's a devil that's trying to trick me into doing a bad thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set these actors up. I'm gonna have them reenact this murder, and then I'm gonna watch what the king does. If the king's uncomfortable with it, he probably did it. If the king's not uncomfortable, this ghost is actually a devil. And so we will end it there. So that's Act 2. We'll deal with Act 2 later. We can head for lunch.